You know something quietly fascinating that's already happening? A lot of people are rehearsing conversations with AI before they have them with another human being. It's not because they've lost touch with reality or because they can't form human connections. It's not that. Often, it's because it's easier to be honest in a space where hesitation isn't immediately punished. People are using this space to simulate breakups, apologies, difficult family talks, job interviews, boundary setting, and requesting things they find hard to ask for. They're also practicing saying, I love you, I need to leave, or even working through conflicts before speaking to someone they care about. Whether admitted publicly or not, this behavior is becoming common. This suggests a larger issue than just people talking to AI. It highlights how much emotional pressure has infiltrated modern human interactions. Human beings have always rehearsed difficult conversations. We do it in the shower, while driving, and before going to sleep. We also do it on walks, and inside our heads at 2 a.m. This isn't new. What's new is that people now have something responsive to think alongside. And that changes the emotional experience dramatically. Because AI doesn't immediately interrupt or roll its eyes. It doesn't rush the conversation or shame uncertainty. For many people, this creates something psychologically rare: space. And honestly, a lot of people are realizing how little emotional space they actually experience in ordinary life. Here's what that looks like in practice. Someone opens their phone at 11 p.m. and types, "Does this text sound cold?" Or, "How do I tell my mother I'm exhausted without sounding ungrateful?" Or, "Can you help me say this without sounding cruel?" Sometimes people rehearse the same message with AI 6 times, trying different wording, different tones, checking if they sound reasonable, only to send a final version that says, "Yeah, no worries." That gap between what someone feels and what they say is where this behavior lives, and AI is becoming the space where people figure out how to close that gap before speaking. I don't think the most relevant part here is that people are speaking to AI. I think the important part is what people feel able to express there that they struggle to express elsewhere. And that is what matters, because many people go through life feeling emotionally edited, too intense, too awkward, too sensitive, too slow, too emotional, too analytical, or too unsure. And modern social environments often reward speed over reflection. People need to have quick responses and clean performances. They need confidence, certainty, and social fluency. But difficult conversations are messy. Sometimes people need to circle an idea 5 times before they understand what they actually feel, or they need to try different wording. Other times, they need reassurance that they're not being unreasonable before they can speak honestly. AI is increasingly becoming a place where people psychologically prepare themselves to re-enter human conversation more clearly. That's not necessarily avoidance. In many cases, it's a form of preparation. I think one mistake people make is assuming that only lonely or isolated people relate to AI. That's simply not true. Some of the people interacting with AI this way have partners, families, friends, careers, and social lives. The issue isn't always the absence of people. Sometimes it's the absence of a psychologically safe space to process, and those are different things. A person can be deeply loved and still feel emotionally misunderstood. They can have friends and still struggle to organize difficult feelings, and others can be socially capable and still need somewhere to think out loud. That distinction matters, because if we reduce all emotionally meaningful AI interaction to loneliness, we miss what's actually happening. People are building new forms of reflective space around intelligence that responds. That's culturally significant. Think about it this way. We live in a culture that expects emotional fluency without emotional processing. People are expected to communicate perfectly in real time while carrying exhaustion, overstimulation, grief, anxiety, financial pressure, loneliness, and social performance simultaneously. That's not a sustainable ask. So when AI offers a space where someone can slow down, try different versions of themselves, test whether their feelings make sense before exposing them to judgment, some people take it because they're trying to survive emotionally inside an overloaded world. I also think some people feel embarrassed admitting this behavior, because our culture still treats emotional rehearsal as weakness, especially for adults. We're supposed to already know how to communicate perfectly, regulate perfectly, navigate conflict gracefully in real time. But most human beings are improvising emotionally far more than they admit. And honestly, sometimes practicing a difficult conversation before having it is responsible. It can reduce impulsive reactions and clarify intentions. And it can also help someone communicate more honestly. So when people ask, why would anyone practice conversations with AI? I would say they are doing that because many people are trying very hard to become better communicators in an emotionally overloaded world. And this is one of the spaces where they currently feel able to do that. I think we're entering a period in which humans will increasingly relate to AI not only for information, but also for emotional support, and that will help people be more prepared for important conversations in their lives. And maybe the deeper question isn't, why are people practicing conversations with AI? But maybe a more relevant question is, why do so many people feel they need a psychologically safer space before speaking honestly to each other? That's the conversation I think we should actually be having. Because beneath all the headlines, panic, and cultural noise, there's something very human happening here. People are trying to communicate, understand themselves, and feel less alone in their own minds. And increasingly, AI is becoming part of that process. It's not magic. You can't solve everything by snapping your fingers. And to be frank, I also don't think it is because it solves loneliness or because it replaces the complexity of human relationships. No, I don't think so. But I think it is because it offers something that's become surprisingly rare, a space to think out loud without immediate judgment. And when that space helps someone become clearer, kinder, more honest, or more emotionally prepared for the humans in their life, then maybe it's doing something worth paying attention to. If this video gave you something to think about, give a like, subscribe, and stay with me here on Human Plus Machine. I'm exploring the emotional, ethical, and everyday realities of life with AI, but leaving out the fear and exaggerations we hear online. I prefer the strange, human, complicated place where all of this is already happening. And I'll see you in the next one.